In this session on meteorology, as lecture number 3 under pressure and wind, we will study the relation between pressure and wind. First, we must know the equation of motion representation. Motion, we can mathematically express the net force I am taking as F net, which is equal to G, the gravitational force, and PV plus PH, where this is the vertical component of pressure gradient force and this is the horizontal component of pressure gradient force, and the frictional force M and the Coriolis force capital C. So here G represents the gravitational force and PV express the vertical pressure gradient force, and pH expresses the horizontal pressure gradient force, and M represents the frictional force and capital C represents the Coriolis force. This is a simple expression. Say now we will take an assumption that wind at elevations above the boundary layer or atmospheric boundary layer, roughly or in general, I can take it as 1 kilometer, that is greater than 1 kilometer. I am making an assumption of atmospheric boundary layer or simply boundary layer. No doubt in the boundary layer meteorology we may express atmospheric boundary layer, planetary boundary layer, or turbulent boundary layer, or convective boundary layer. That is the different names we will express there. Okay, so the first we will take above 1 kilometer above the boundary layer portion. Here we can consider the pressure gradient force. We can take M equal to 0, and the air motion totally it will be horizontally. Air motion I can take it as horizontally, and there will be a balance between the vertical component of pressure gradient force and the gravitational force. That is, I am expressing here as PV equal to minus G, so that what we can see, that is PV plus, because this balance is in existence, that is in opposite fashion, so that PV plus G I can take it as 0. That is, vertical component balances with vertical component of pressure gradient balances with the gravitational force, and thereby PV plus G will be equal to 0. Therefore, I am expressing this as let it be as a first equation, so that is this term finally we can express F net or the net force we can express as PH plus C alone. So let this be equation number 2. So first we have taken the frictional force as equal to m equal to 0, and the air motion we will express as horizontal air motion, and PV balances with G, so that these two addition will nullify and m will get 0, so that finally we will get F net equal to PH plus C alone. Now we will consider an air parcel in motion in the northern hemisphere. Say, already I told I have taken a general assumption that the motions are above the atmospheric boundary layer, or in general above 1 kilometer. So here I am taking such an air motion, let it be at 3 kilometer. Say I am taking isobars in the northern hemisphere, and say this consideration, let it be around 3 kilometer height. Okay, here I am taking this area designated as high pressure and this area as low, and so that this 804 millibar I am putting, and 802 millibar, and this let it be 800 millibar. So we know the pressure gradient force, if I want to mark here, it should be exactly perpendicular to the isobars, and so that I can make PH as in a vertical fashion to the isobar. Say now I will consider an air parcel is moving in this direction. Let it be here 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally it reached here 5. That is first position, second position, third position, fourth position, and fifth position. So here we can express the pressure gradient force or horizontal pressure gradient force. All the time it will be from high to low, here also high to low, here also high to low, high to low, and here also high to low, high pressure to low pressure. Okay, so the velocity of the air parcel I can express as a tangent here. Finally it will be parallel to the isobar. Okay, and the Coriolis force for this point I can take it as in this direction, then this direction, here for this direction, then finally it will be turning more, and finally it will be making in this direction, so that the final position, when it reaches this air parcel, that is say let the air parcel moves with velocity v. This is the horizontal component of pressure gradient force. All the time it will be from high to low, and it makes an angle 90 degree, and this is the velocity, or the tangent to this trajectory provides the velocity of the air parcel. So at the point, the last point 5, we can see pH just balances at 5, pH balances with C, the Coriolis force. So that what we can see in this equation, this pH and C balances, and thereby we can see F net will becomes 0. Okay, so at this point number 5, when the air parcel reaches here, the pressure gradient, horizontal pressure gradient force balances with C, and thereby the velocity here will be exactly making perpendicular to pH as well as perpendicular to Coriolis force. That is, here pH balances with, that is horizontal pressure gradient force balances with the Coriolis force, and thereby pH I can take having a balance between pH and C, and thereby F net or the net force will become 0. So F net equal to 0 means, in general physics we can take m into dv by dt will become, that is mass into acceleration, it will become 0, and thereby we can take dv by dt equal to 0, and thereby we will have a constant value, because the differential is becoming 0, so that the parameter v or the velocity will have a constant value, or it will be with the parcel will achieve a uniform velocity. When there is a uniform velocity, no doubt there will not be no acceleration. That is, the air parcel characteristics will be with no acceleration. That is, air parcel no longer accelerate, or the parcel moves with uniform speed and with no acceleration. So okay, so final speed at a point number 5 depends on the size of pH. That is, at point 5 the final speed depends the size of horizontal pressure gradient force and the latitude phi, because you know the Coriolis force is nothing but 2 omega sine phi into v. Here you have seen this is of constant value, that is uniform, and for a particular phi, that is the latitude, and omega you know the angular or the rotation rate of the earth. So this has a constant, this also a constant, so that it solely depends on the size of the horizontal pressure gradient force and the latitude phi. That is, if it is in the water, if you are going towards the low latitude, you know sine 0 or sine 0 will become equal to 0, and thereby C will have 0 value, or towards low latitude the Coriolis force will have low values. So for larger pressure gradient force, no doubt we know isobars are very close. Okay, more rapid will be the increase in wind speed. Increase in wind speed. So here you know for larger pressure gradient means the isobars are in a very closer fashion, and thereby we can see more rapid increase in wind speed. So what we can see at 5, point number 0.5, what we can see, stronger V, because if I am taking the nearness of this point to here, and say when it reach here, this point to here, no doubt delta n, the difference of isobar will be very least here, so that we will have high value that we will see in the from the mathematical expression for this V value. Okay, so for the same pressure gradient, we can see V for low latitude will be greater than V for high latitudes. Okay, no doubt here low latitudes are characterized by weak Coriolis force, so that we will get the V for low latitudes of greater value compared to V at high latitudes. At the same time, for the same pressure gradient, we can take the delta T, that is the time required to reach the parcel from the position 1 to 2 for low latitudes will be greater than the time taken for an air parcel to reach from 1 to 5 for high latitudes. Okay, that is the time for, in the case of a low latitude, the time required for an air parcel to reach to 5 from 1, it will be greater, or the delta T will be greater compared to the time required for an air parcel to reach position number 5 from 1 in the case of a high latitude. Okay, so these points you have to keep in your mind. Now, no doubt close to equator, that is when you are nearing 5 towards 0 degree, you know the Coriolis force also 0. So the air makes cross isobaric angle. That is, near the equator, the air parcel makes cross isobaric angle and thereby weakens the pressure gradient force. And say if the pressure gradient force weakens, we can see and thus limiting V. Okay, So when you reach near to the equatorial latitude or the near to equator, Coriolis force will become 0 and the air makes cross isobaric angles and weakens the pressure gradient force and thereby limiting V value. Okay. Now with this knowledge, now we will go in order to study the portion on so-called geostrophic wind. So now you know the behavior of an air parcel from a position 1 to 5 in a very systematic fashion. It will make, that is, through this trajectory in systematic fashion, the velocity will change, and finally we will achieve a balance between horizontal pressure gradient force and Coriolis force at this point number 5. So by keeping this in your mind, we will study the geostrophic wind. So the word geostrophic means it is constant velocity. Geostrophic means constant velocity motion. That is, at this point number 5, there is a constant velocity motion. You know, the constant velocity or uniform velocity means it is characterized by acceleration 0. So no doubt this geostrophic wind, that is an ideal case. Okay, and isobars should be straight lines. Or straight lines, and there exists a balance between the Coriolis force and the horizontal pressure gradient force. Then this V can be called as Vg. This is the geostrophic wind. So clear. So the point number 5, the air parcel achieved the geostrophic wind. So it is an ideal case. Geostrophic means constant velocity motion, and there exists a balance between Coriolis force and horizontal pressure gradient force, and then V equal to, or the uniform velocity V can be expressed as Vg, called geostrophic wind. Now we will see it's the Vg features in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere separately. So in the northern hemisphere, first I am taking northern hemisphere. Say I have 2 isobars, say let it be 700 millibar, let it be 704 millibar, so that this region can be designated as high and this region as low. Already you have seen the velocity should be, that is, there exists a balance between the pressure gradient force You know, all the time the pressure gradient force should be from high to low, and this is the Coriolis force. They say let it be the position of the parcel here, that is earlier it was in the fifth position. There you will achieve the Vg, that is parallel to the isobar, and there exists a balance between the horizontal pressure gradient force and the Coriolis force, and the low pressure to the left. No doubt the pressure gradient force acts from high to low, and for in the case of southern hemisphere, say this I am taking as high, this I am taking as again low, let it be 700 millibar, let it be 704 millibar, and here also no doubt the pressure gradient force will be from high to low only. Okay, so this is the direction of V. You know, in the southern hemisphere the Coriolis force should be west of V, that is this is the Coriolis force. Okay, so pressure gradient force, Coriolis force, there exists a balance, and this is the direction of Vg, or the so called geostrophic wind. For the same spacing of isobar, what we can see, Vg at low phi, that is at low latitudes, will have more value Vg at high latitude. Okay, so now we can express the mathematically the geostrophic wind. No doubt it is a constant velocity motion parallel to the isobar, and there exists a balance between horizontal pressure gradient force and Coriolis force, and now we can express the Vg mathematically as 1 by rho 2 omega sin phi delta p by delta n. So no doubt here if you take, this is the difference of pressure delta p and the corresponding distance delta n. No doubt in a weather map we have to apply suitable scale ratio from the weather map or weather chart. So delta p is the difference in pressure, delta n is the difference between, or the distance of separation between these two isobars, phi is the latitude, omega is the angular velocity of earth, and rho is the density of air. Okay, so this is the geostrophic wind relation if you have several isobars. Say now we will consider what will happen in the case of a constant pressure surface. say let it be, this I am taking as 500 millibar surface. Okay, so from the mean sea level, I can take say let it be this point I can take as equal to 5500 meter, and say here I am taking another point. No doubt this will be more elevated compared to the earlier point 5700 meters, so that we can express the relation for such a type of an isobaric surface. The Vg relation can be written as, for the geostrophic wind, mathematical expression can be written as Vg equal to G by 2 omega sin phi delta Z by delta n, where G is the gravity, phi is the latitude, delta Z is the difference of between, that is this point, and the height level, that is this is delta Z. Okay, and we have the point of observation here and this, so this will be the delta n. So delta Z, delta n on a pressure surface, and thereby you will get the Vg value or geostrophic wind mathematical expression for an isobaric surface. And if already I specified, when you reach towards the low latitude, phi will have a low value. So for that, the due to phi low, balance between pH and C seldom achieves in tropic. In tropics, generally we can say around 15 degrees south to 15 degree north. So the due to low phi value, balance between horizontal pressure gradient force and the Coriolis force seldom achieves in the tropics between, say, around from 15 degree south to 15 degree north. So actual wind, if you see, approximately Vg in regions of straight isobars already you have seen. If you want to make m equal to 0 or frictional force to be equal to 0, we have to take above 1 kilometer and outside the region of 15 degree south to 15 degree north. Okay, so the actual wind we can take as geostrophic approximation in the regions of straight isobars greater than 1 kilometer and outside 15 degree south to 15 degree north. Now we will study on the another part, the gradient wind. So if isobars are curved, the direction of pressure gradient force varies along the isobar. So geostrophic balance is not achieved. Say we have isobars are curved. If for curved isobars, the geostrophic balance is not achieved. Okay, so when air moves in a curved path around a low or a high parallel to isobars, the wind is called gradient wind. No doubt this also an ideal case. So it should be curved path around a low or around a high, curved path around a low or a high and parallel to the isobars, then we can call the wind as gradient wind. No doubt it must satisfy the curved isobaric nature. Now we will see. So we have seen the gradient wind, no balance between horizontal pressure gradient force and Coriolis force, and around low we will see horizontal pressure gradient force should be greater than Coriolis force, and around high horizontal pressure gradient force will be greater than Coriolis force, results an inward directed force. Or no doubt it is the net force. Okay, and F net is nothing but the centripetal force. Because you know there no balance between pH and C, and the centripetal force is no doubt the difference between difference of pH and C. Okay, that will provide the necessary centripetal force. Now you will see how the gradient wind is achieved in the case of a low pressure system and high pressure system in the northern hemisphere. Say in the northern hemisphere, I am taking, this is a low pressure area in the northern hemisphere. Say let it be at 700 millibar. A concentric isobaric surface I am considering 704 millibar. This region will characterize as high pressure, and here it will be low pressure. And say this parcel, air parcel, moves in a parallel direction. In the case of this low pressure center, the horizontal pressure gradient force will be in this direction, and no doubt there is already a balance here between, this is the C, Coriolis force, and this will be the velocity here. Say another point, this is the V, and here this is the horizontal pressure gradient force, and this is the Coriolis force. And here the parcel reached here, PH C, velocity in this direction. So here V is nothing but the gradient wind. Okay. So in the northern hemisphere, around low the circulation should be of anti-clockwise nature or cyclonic. And now we will consider this case, that is at the air parcel which moves in the eastward direction, that is eastward movement encounters a slight backward component of pH, which slows down V and thereby C, because 2 omega sin phi V reduces, and thereby Coriolis force reduces. That is, here what we can see, Coriolis force is lesser in magnitude compared to horizontal pressure gradient force, that is pH. Okay. In the case of a low pressure system where V is the gradient wind, no doubt it is everywhere parallel to the isobar. Here for the low, that is low center, and there will be cyclonic circulation in the northern hemisphere. And now we will see the similar feature of gradient wind. What will happen in the case of a high pressure center? Say I am taking high here, This is no doubt, it should be, this part should be characterized by law, and this, let it be 708 millibar, 704 millibar, and I am considering parallel flow to isobars, that is, an air parcel moves from here, say here, from high to low, you know your pressure gradient force should be in this direction. There is a balance between Coriolis force for this point and for this point, and no doubt this is in the northern hemisphere, the circulation should be in the clockwise direction, so that velocity at this point will have such a line of action, and here it should be towards west, and here it should be, velocity should be towards south, so south, west, and towards north in the northern hemisphere. And now we will consider the point here, that is, the parcel moves in the westward direction. So here you have seen eastward movement encounters a slight backward component of horizontal pressure gradient force, which slows down and thereby low value of Coriolis force. The same fashion, if you consider the point here, that is, for the westward motion, westward movement encounters a slight forward component here, westward movement encounters a slight forward component of pH, which enhances V and thereby high value in Coriolis force. That is, for the high, the Coriolis force value must have a high value compared to horizontal, compared to, here this is the, from high to low, this is the pressure gradient force, and of course this is the Coriolis force. So here in this case of high, what we can write, the horizontal pressure gradient force will be less than Coriolis force. Okay, so this is the nature of gradient wind flow around a low pressure and high pressure over the northern hemisphere. Okay, so what we can write in general fashion, we can just draw say I have the law here and your some more little bit larger I will draw. This is the, here pressure gradient force should be high, this let it be on low, pressure gradient force, and this will be the horizontal the Coriolis force, and no doubt, of course, there the difference between horizontal pressure gradient force and the Coriolis force will provide the necessary centripetal force. So you have centripetal force in the case of a low pressure. So, and whereas in the case of a high pressure, what you will get, you know, this, let it be a high pressure, and pressure gradient force no doubt always from high to low, so that I can mark here pressure gradient force, and Coriolis force should be greater, and your centripetal force, Coriolis force, and horizontal pressure gradient force. So this is the nature of the interaction between Coriolis force, pressure gradient force, and centripetal force in the case of a low pressure system, and the interaction among horizontal pressure gradient force, centripetal force, and Coriolis force in the case of a high pressure system over the northern hemisphere. So, if you take same for same, let it be pressure gradient, and for the same latitude, what we can see for a high pressure region, and if you compare a high pressure region and a low pressure region, what we can see, the V will be greater than Vg, and V in this case it should be less than Vg, and here this case this V we will term as under super geostrophic. Okay, so due to change in direction of pressure gradient force adds to the wind speed, and thereby you will get a high V value in comparison with Vg, that is due to change in direction of pressure gradient force adds to the wind speed. And thereby you will get V value greater than Vg, or you will get the super geostrophic condition. And whereas here in the case of the low, what we have seen, V will be less than Vg, and this will be, then it will be termed as sub geostrophic, that is due to change in direction of pressure gradient force, in this case subtracts to the wind speed. Due to change in direction of pressure gradient force subtracts to the wind speed. Okay, so this is the subgeostrophic condition in the case of the low pressure, and this is the supergeostrophic in the case of a high pressure region. So now no doubt in the case of a high pressure the pressure gradient delta P will be very high. Delta P will be very high. You know, if delta P is high means the isobars separation will be very wide, so that what we can see, winds around high pressure region are of low value or low wind. Okay, but whereas in low pressure, you know, delta P here, that is pressure gradient will be high and thereby high wind speed. Okay, sorry, here delta P, that is difference. Okay, this very high delta P value, and here, okay, no doubt it is delta P, that is very here it is the delta P or the isobar distances are very less, but whereas here the isobaric distances are more. That is, say for a particular width, say I am seeing 1 2 3 4 5 6 isobar, but whereas for the same width I can anticipate only 3 isobars. So, and thereby the isobar separation will be high, and which results a low velocity, and whereas here delta P is low, and which results a high velocity in the case of a low pressure. And high, no doubt it will be characterized by anti-cyclone, no doubt in the northern hemisphere, are larger because the isobars are very wide, and less because of low velocity they are less intense. Okay, whereas low, no doubt it is cyclonic or with low, no doubt it is opposite is true here, that is here high pressure region or they are characterized by anticyclone are of less intense, and here it will be of very strong, and the area span will be short. Okay, and no doubt the if you want to have a wind change, no doubt we must have a cross isobaric flow. That also you please keep it in your mind. Cross isobaric flow is responsible for wind changes. So this wind changes. This is a necessary condition for either high or low formation. So these are the points we must keep in the under the discussion relation between pressure and wind. So with this we will conclude this session.